Against my better judgment, I'm about to enter A51.
In any conversation about the best games on the Nintendo 64, one title you are sure to hear every time is Perfect Dark. A first-person shooter designed exclusively for the console that started out as a spiritual successor of the hit 007 game GoldenEye, but would go on to make its own prominent mark on the industry. Released on May 22nd in the year 2000, this was a game that pushed the technological capabilities of the N64 to its absolute limits, even requiring the attachable expansion pack to run its campaign mode. To be fair, the PS2 was on the verge of release at this point, so the N64 was getting up there in age at the time. Development on the game was actually the result of Rare losing the bid to create an adaptation of GoldenEye's sequel, Tomorrow Never Dies, to EA Games. So instead of developing a follow-up to their popular Bond game, Rare decided it was time to create an original secret agent game of their own. The title Perfect Dark itself was chosen due solely to how the word seemed to imply a dark topic matter. One of the game's directors, Martin Hollis, even admitted this to be the case, saying, quote, "Game developers just like black, nihilism, dystopian futures, the number zero, infinity, spheres, perfection, all that kind of stuff," end quote. Which is a hysterical way of him describing where the name came from, given how this game actually is. Of course, one of the most notable aspects of the game, especially at the time, was its protagonist, Joanna Dark. Replacing the suave and dashing atmosphere of James Bond, Joanna Dark comes across instead as sleek, sophisticated, and even a little bit silly at times. Contrary to what often feels like popular belief, female protagonists in video games were not some obscure or rare concept, even back then, no pun intended. There were plenty of other games featuring capable female characters already out or at least in development when this game released. So despite what I've heard some people may claim, the inclusion of Joanna Dark as a female hero wasn't really groundbreaking or daring in any way. That isn't to remove from her being a great character though, because she totally is, but rather to clarify a point I've heard brought up regarding this game. Perfect Dark is a great game, and players loved it on release, but no one cared that Joanna Dark was a woman back then. They just thought she was compelling and the game was fun. Although the game was released as an N64 exclusive, it did eventually see a port to the Xbox 360 marketplace in the form of a remaster back in 2010. And while that did look great, the majority of the footage you'll be seeing in this video isn't from that remaster or the original version. Rather, I'll be showing off the fan-handled Perfect Dark decompilation project, which is, for all intents and purposes, a PC port. Utilizing the actual N64 ROM of the game itself, this project manages to offer a widescreen, high frame rate PC version of the game complete with multiple quality of life improvements like mouse look. It does take a little bit of work to get up and running, but the smooth, responsive mouse and keyboard gameplay alone is worth it. Not to mention all of the graphical enhancements are simply too stunning not to pursue in my opinion. Of course, you can sort of utilize mouse and keyboard via emulator, but it functions significantly better in this version, almost like it was natively made for it. Although the team is still ironing out a few issues. While I'm playing, you may see a few graphical glitches during cutscenes and gameplay, so if you notice something odd or glitchy, just note that it's probably from this project still being worked on and touched up. Also, after running the N64 version with a suitable N64 controller and comparing the experiences to this PC version, it should come as no surprise that I'm recommending anyone interested in playing through Perfect Dark take this route rather than a classic console or standard emulation. It looks better, plays better, and offers both the most enjoyable and highest fidelity way to experience the original Perfect Dark. I'll link to the project in my description. So with all of that taken care of, let's get into the story. The game really throws you straight into it without taking much time to bother explaining anything about its world to you, which, although I do like, can feel a bit jarring when first diving in. We open inside of the Carrington Institute, a research foundation created, owned, and operated by our benefactor, Daniel Carrington. Now, before I started playing this game, I had already been listening to the audiobook of the first novel called Perfect Dark Initial Vector, which is a stellar book by the way, but that's a conversation for later. The reason I'm saying that is to point out that I recognized a ton of what was happening from what I had learned about the world in that book. It's an unorthodox way to experience the universe, but I highly recommend it actually. The Carrington Institute itself acts as a sort of hub where we can wander around and interact with different members of the Foundation. Imagine it like if 007 got to walk around a little part of MI6 in between missions in a Bond game. From this hub is where we can look at our available gameplay options, multiplayer, training, and of course, single-player missions. I'll be playing through the game on Special Agent difficulty, which is the medium option and covers most of the objectives throughout the game. Perfect Agent difficulty tends to only feature one additional objective to complete and is normally akin to what I'd call busy work. So we're sticking with Special Agent for this one. Also, most of these levels are very short and simple, with a massive amount of this game's potential length coming from just trying to decrypt what the hell to do in a given mission. So this is going to be a bit of a shorter campaign playthrough. The game takes place in the futuristic year of 2023, where corporations control the world, aliens exist and are at war, AI is playing a pivotal role in humanity's fate, and there's flying cars everywhere. Well, I mean, they got roughly half of it right, I guess. This takes us straight to the Lucrine Tower, headquarters of a tech conglomerate called Datadyne. A Datadyne scientist named Dr. Carroll has reached out to the Carrington Institute requesting to be rescued due to his moral conflictions about the project he is currently working on, a proposition which has caught the interest of Daniel Carrington due to his ongoing rivalry with Datadyne. So he agrees and quickly organizes a mission to search and rescue this Dr. Carroll by sending in his best agent, and her codename is Perfect Dark.
Good luck, Dr. Dark.
Mission 1 opens with Joanna rappelling down to the roof of a Datadyne corporate building with orders to secure the basement elevator key, find said elevator, and gain access to the research lab sublevels. This game looks fantastic. Just looking around in this world, I personally think this has aged super well. We gotta place this ECM mine to disable their internal security system to make this whole operation way easier, and then progress deeper into the building. First impressions once inside are that, damn, this game looks really cool. I love this art style, and when she tilts her pistol to the side like that, it makes me feel like John Wick, and I'm already having a great time here. The aesthetic is definitely that of a typical early 2000s futuristic shooter, but I mean that in the best way possible. Our first objective is to get the basement key from the CEO named Cassandra DeVries, which I was struggling to figure out how to even do since she's wearing it, but as it turns out, you just gotta give her a stern thwack to get it off of her. Also, why does she have a mini-me? What is the height difference we're seeing here? Why is her assistant so small? It doesn't matter, but it caught me off guard the first time I saw it. With the key in hand, now we just need to make our way to the ground floor. There's a decent bit of level here, so we can end up just wandering around before we get there though. And this additional space is for other objectives, and when we come back up for our escape later. Once we get in the elevator to descend down to the ground floor, then we just have to find the security room and place the other ECM mine to disable their external communications. Then it's just a matter of taking the basement elevator down to the research lab. Now let's go find and rescue this Dr. Carroll.
Huh? What?
We're in the subterranean research lab now, and all we have to do is get a photo of a radioactive isotope, start the security maintenance cycle, shut down all of the Datadyne experiments, and find Dr. Carroll. Alright, easy enough, let's do it. The radioactive isotope is actually pretty easy to locate, being behind one of the first few doors we find, but due to radioactivity we can't get close to it in person. So we make use of one of Perfect Dark's various gadgets we get to play with called the Spy Cam, which allows us to fly a remote camera into the room for the photo we need. After that, it's just a matter of finding the maintenance area where we wipe out a handful of security with extreme prejudice. Oh, and by the way, I know it looks kind of cool when she holds her pistol to the side like that, but I feel like I need to specify that the only real reason you would do that is to see your laser sight better. There's no tactical advantage I can think of to hold your weapon to the side like that unless you're going to see the laser instead of iron sights, which is probably why she doesn't do that with any of the other weapons in the game except this one. After we clear through some of these labs and shut down the experiments they were working on, including this experimental rifle called the K7 Avenger, we're able to locate and secure Dr. Carroll, although he's not exactly what you may have expected.
Dr. Carroll? Dr. Carroll, are you here?
Well? Is it safe to come out?
Yes, all clear. What? You're...
Very professionally done, my dear. But there's no time to waste. We must leave immediately. Come on! I have vital information. And you must protect me.
Sound the alarm! She's here!
Lights out!
Oh!
What the...
Alright, well, we've secured Dr. Carroll, who is, in actuality, an artificial intelligence in the form of a floating laptop. Lights are out, but luckily we found some night vision goggles in those labs, which we're able to put to good use now. This mission is significantly more straightforward. Retrace our steps back to the rooftop, wipe out Cassandra's bodyguards, take out the Datadyne aircraft, and get Dr. Carroll to the roof for extraction. It's more straightforward than how what I just said sounds, anyway. The airship isn't messing around either. It'll shred you to pieces if you're not quick. Fortunately, it's pretty easy to take out. Dr. Carroll is also very easy to destroy, so you've got to be very careful with it, but so long as you're quick, you should be able to keep him alive. Finally, as we make for the roof, Cassandra confronts us.
We meet again, girl.
We're able to pretty quickly dispatch her guards, though, and finally make it to the helipad for extraction.
Going somewhere?
Something I can do for you, old woman.
Return our sapient immediately. You don't know what you're doing.
Yes, I do. I'm leaving.
One more chance. Give it back. And you could come and work for me.
Sorry, gotta shoot.
You must get the sapient back. We cannot proceed without it.
I know that. I also know who to talk to. Mr. Carrington.
Agent Dark, mission log 1846 hours. Last night we got a call from Cassandra DeVries. A Datadyne team have taken Daniel Carrington hostage at his private villa on the coast. And they say they will spare his life in exchange for the AI. Unfortunately, we don't have it. Daniel and Dr. Carroll were at the villa to discuss matters of mutual interest. It looks like Daniel found a way to hide Dr. Carroll inside the villa when the Datadyne hit squad arrived. Hopefully, our phony negotiator ploy will give me a chance to surprise the Datadyne squad. This time, it's not just my life on the line.
So now we've got to link up with Daniel Carrington, our benefactor, and free him from the Datadyne team holding him captive. We're able to quickly save the negotiator with the sniper rifle, and because it's a sniping mission, it's surprisingly open compared to what we had in the first mission. These big open areas in the center of the villa make it a fantastic level to play with said sniper rifle, which is the main draw of this mission after all. It's a much shorter level than the first one though. Instead of being broken up into 3 parts like some of the other levels, this one is only on this one map, but it's still one of the better missions in the game in my opinion. Something about the look and design of this level screams early 2000s FPS in a really good way. Plus, there's a good amount of verticality to play with throughout. After wiping out the Datadyne soldiers, we're able to head into the basement where we reactivate the wind-powered generator to restore power, and then head for the room where they're keeping Carrington. This wine cellar is such a phenomenal set piece too, because the bottles shattering as you fire and get fired at feels like such a spy movie sequence. I loved this part. With the key to the room where Carrington is, we burst in and get him back on his feet.
Sir, are you injured?
No, Joanna, I'm okay. But those Datadyne thugs made me tell them where I'd hidden Dr. Carroll. Only I'd held out for a few minutes more.
It's not your fault, sir. I should have been quicker.
Don't blame yourself, Joanna. Dr. Carroll told me that he expected this to happen. Actually, when they recaptured him, the Datadyne team got overconfident and let slip a few facts when they thought I was unconscious. They mentioned a meeting in the G5 building in Chicago, Illinois tonight. I want you to be there. But that doesn't leave you a lot of time to get ready.
That won't be a problem, sir. So, did Dr. Carroll have any useful information for you?
Oh, yes, indeed. He certainly did. And I'll brief you when you're on your route to Chicago. We might still be able to help him, even after those butchers remove his personality. He thinks I'll keep a copy of it in a safe place. About time I called in some friends to deal with Datadyne.
This is probably my favorite mission, aesthetically speaking. We're on the streets of Chicago, and the environmental design is incredible. I mean, I personally think it's the best looking environment of the whole game. The rain and lightning against the dark sky feels like it's delivering on what the box art was promising us. Unfortunately, this is the last mission to feel like this in the game. Now, when you already know what to do, this little section is pretty short, but figuring out what to do took me a while. Essentially, we need to find this case in the storm drain hidden for us to use so we can reprogram this taxi to crash into the automated defense sentry and cause a distraction, which will allow us to infiltrate this building where Datadyne is keeping a backup disk of Dr. Carroll's personality. If we're going to restore him to his original state, then we're going to need that disk. Not to mention, maybe we can pick up some evidence of all this while we're down there. Lastly, we place a charge on one of the walls outside of the catwalk to give us access to an escape route once we've collected the data we need. In this mission, we're introduced to the enemy's cloaking tech, and it's actually pretty cool. Ups the challenge a bit, even if it's used very sparingly across the game. The intel we got from Carrington suggested that there's a meeting happening in this building that if we can just get footage of, we can use to shine some light on whatever conspiracy we're unfolding right now. It doesn't take long to make our way through these halls until we secure a location in which we can overhear the meeting in question. We just need to pull out the handy spy cam and fly it in.
We've recovered the sapient from Carrington and altered its programming. It no longer has a personality, so there will be no further incidents.
This will reduce its efficiency. My team will have to take it to the core themselves. This will endanger them. You should have anticipated that the sapient might develop a troublesome moral code.
No one could have predicted that, and I resent being singled out for blame. What about him?
The President turned down your request for the loan of the Pelagic II. Could it be you overestimated your influence over him?
No! Perhaps I underestimated his resolve. We have a contingency plan ready to go, and we will move as soon as the presidential entourage arrives at the airbase. All I need from the President is a tissue sample.
Assuming you don't get any interference. If Carrington has pieced together enough of this, he will have called for reinforcements.
There will be no outside help from Mr. Carrington. The technology you gave us is installed in Nevada and fully operational. We can intercept any craft they use.
Then the devices we gave you are working correctly. Good. Because we believe anything which does not work correctly should be destroyed. Consider that as you follow your backup plans.
Sounds ominous. Well, we've got the lead we came here for now, some kind of tech they've installed in Nevada. Before we leave, we need to get our hands on that backup disk for Dr. Carroll to restore his personality, and unfortunately, the decoder we're waiting on to unlock the vault sets off the alarm. So over the next 30 seconds, Joanna racks up an additional 30 kills to her overall KD waiting on this vault to open. This is a good time to talk a little bit about the gunplay of Perfect Dark. Playing it on the PC is a dream. It's so smooth and responsive that you would think it was developed to be played this way. Playing it on an N64 controller, however, was just a worse experience in every way. Although I do recognize that for what it was at the time, it was very unique and exciting. And looking back, it's probably very nostalgic for players who grew up with it that way. But I'm telling you, it's just better on mouse and keyboard. The auto-aim is helpful, but utilizing the manual aim with a mouse is so damn snappy and satisfying that it makes trying it out on PC worth it for that alone. Anyway, with the backup disc in hand now, it's time to get out of here, and it's a good thing we set that explosive as an escape route because it makes getting out of here way easier.
Agent Dark reporting in. Prepare to receive a download of the meeting data. Priority request from Institute support team to protect the President before he goes to Alaska.
No time for that now, Agent Dark. There's been a development during radio silence. The craft carrying those friends I was talking about was shot down over Nevada. The weapon responsible was found from Area 51. That's where the survivors and debris will have been taken. You're to prep for immediate dispatch when you return here. Carrington out.
Area 51? But what about the President?
Well, we're now on a mission to infiltrate Area 51, link up with our inside man, then locate and rescue a literal gray alien. The game only gets wackier from here. Whatever inklings of a dark, edgy spy thriller you may have had for this game have already come and gone. What you saw so far is as much as you'll get in Perfect Dark. Fans of the game are unsurprised by this, of course, but I'd never played this game before I did it for this video. I played Perfect Dark Zero over a decade ago, and I've been listening to an audiobook of the first novel leading up to playing this, but damn, I was not ready for where the story is about to go. Before we can access Area 51, however, we'll need to shut down their air intercept radar and plant a comms device on the local antenna. This mission actually gave me some serious trouble. You've got to really learn the layout here and familiarize yourself with where the NPCs are and how best to take out the turrets spread around the area. Eventually, though, I managed to nail down the surroundings, plant the comms device, disable the air intercept radar, and then head for the hangar. Also, this is our first taste of a vehicle in the game. Vehicles don't ever play a major role in Perfect Dark, but the fact that there are a couple of missions that let us ride around on a hover bike like this is really cool. It's a little bit hard to control and honestly needs a far larger environment to use it on than we get in this level, but it's pretty nice that they introduced it early here. After killing our way through the hangar, we can head down into the main lab and meet up with our contact from the Institute.
Agent Dark, over here.
There you are. I was beginning to wonder if
What?
If you'd been discovered yet, and frankly, if this is how you work, I'm amazed that you lasted longer than 5 minutes.
I was tidying up one of your loose ends.
My loose ends.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize you wanted him to shoot you. I can call in some more guards if you like.
Okay, forget about it. I'm going to let the Institute know we've made contact.
The problem you have is that there is no way to sneak into the research section. The only way in available to you is a weak section of wall I've marked in the room beyond the stores. It can be destroyed with explosives.
Doesn't sound like a problem to me. Where are these explosives?
In that crate.
Cute. Very cute.
By the way, the stores are crawling with guards. It may go against your nature, but try sneaking through rather than blasting everything.
Certainly. Any other pearls of wisdom?
That crate.
Yes.
It really doesn't like being shot.
Great. Now if I can just fight the urge to report him to base security.
Alright, so this crate of explosives is meant to be what we use to blow a hole through a weakened wall into the main research lab of Area 51. But as I quickly found out, doing this is not only painfully dull, but also useless because we can just throw a grenade against the wall and blow it up, which is way better. Once we're in the main halls, we have to shut down some experiments in order to x-ray some pods so we can scan and get evidence of aliens being kept there. It gets way goofier than this, don't worry. The design of Area 51 is exactly what you would imagine it to look like. It's got cold metallic corridors, glass research pods with aliens in them, soldiers around every corner, giant metal bulkhead doors. I mean, it's just the most generic iteration of Area 51 I've ever seen. And I don't even think I could say that's a criticism because it's so clearly done intentionally. Like, they wanted it to look like this because it matches the silly, sub-serious tone of the overall game. This mission took me forever to figure out because the game is so damn vague about what you're supposed to do. It gives you an objective that says something like, locate conspiracy evidence, and then from that, you have to figure out to call up these pods, equip your X-ray glasses, and scan an alien. You know what? I can actually appreciate this too. I mean, it's annoying because I was wandering around trying all kinds of different gadgets on different things to locate conspiracy evidence, but there's something to be said for a game that just refuses to hold your hand in any way. We find an unsuspecting scientist with a lab uniform we can use for our disguise, knock him out, grab the uniform, and make our way to the lab where they're keeping the subject. With everything we need now in hand, we're able to locate what we came here for.
Put your hands up and step away from the alien. Don't make me tell you again, Doctor, and turn that laser off.
This is supposed to be a sealed room. Don't you know anything about autopsy procedures?
I don't care much for procedures.
Director Easton will hear about this, young lady. You can't take that. It's government property. This is intolerable. It's unprofessional. Let's see how that overconfident thief deals with our gas defense system. She'll think twice before messing with me again.
What's that noise? Can't be. Gas.
Well, there he is. Although I have no idea why Joanna didn't just kill these scientists like we've done to literally everyone else. With the alien in hand and poison gas flooding out into the rooms around us, we gotta sprint to get the hell out of here. We drop the subject off where our allied agent named Jonathan tells us to, and then start moving to link back up with him. After gunning through and slaughtering roughly 36 American soldiers, literally just doing their job, Joanna finds Jonathan. These poor bastards. I mean, I guess we're supposed to think they're complicit with alien torture or something, but there's something really funny about the idea that Joanna just mows down several hundred people just trying to pay their rent with a security gig they accepted. After Jonathan clears the way to blow a hole in the wall to the hangar, we're able to find our alien subject again when suddenly...
I'm alive! I thought I'd be chopped up like the others by now. You're from the Institute, aren't you? I recognize you from before. You helped me. Thank you.
You speak our language?
Watch her, she's sharp.
What's wrong?
I have a headache. And with a head this big, that's no joke.
Can you walk? We must leave before they get organized and hunt us down.
I think so. What's your name?
I'm Agent Dark, or Joanna, if you'd prefer.
Well, Joanna, I'm Protector 1. But you can call me Elvis.
We just saved a gray space alien from Area 51 who calls himself Elvis. To someone who is already familiar with this game, you probably don't understand what it was like to see this as a new player and question what the hell was going on. Alright, so we fight off the incoming security forces while Elvis preps the flying saucer, which is not a sentence I was expecting to write for this video. Jonathan opts to stay behind and open the hangar doors while Joanna and Elvis escape on his ship.
Agent Dark in position. I can see the main entrance to the base, and I can just make out the cable car arrival point.
Excellent, Joanna. That cable car is your way in. Our observer at the lower terminus has spotted a member of the flight crew boarding a minute ago. She is being escorted by air-based troops. I don't have to remind you that
they're probably innocent of any involvement in Trent's little scheme. They can't shoot at them, even if they shoot at me. What about the NSA agents?
I don't know how far the conspiracy is spread through the NSA, but I'm willing to bet that the men Trent has around him here are loyal to him and his plan. You have to get the evidence of Trent's betrayal onto Air Force One and show it to the President.
Yes, and protect him from his abductors. Do you have any idea what Trent's plan might be yet? What about those blonde guys?
Only vague suspicions, and I won't distract you with those. Good luck. Carrington out.
With Elvis saved and returned safely to the Carrington Institute, our priority is now to board the Air Force One and save the president from Trent's plan to kidnap him. In case you missed it, Trent Easton is that guy in the red coat, and he's been the head of the NSA in this game. Of course, both he and Cassandra work for the suspicious blonde man we saw earlier. The game does let us do a little bit of secret agent work though, as we knock out a flight hostess to disguise ourselves as her and infiltrate this base more smoothly. I rather like this bit, starting us outside of the hangar on top of a snow-covered mountain and letting us actually do some real spy work is super nice. But man, this game is so unclear about what to do sometimes. I was trying to figure out why it wouldn't let me put my items on this cart like I'm supposed to, but it doesn't tell you anything. You're just left to figure it out for your own damn self. Well, as it turns out, you're actually supposed to take a sharp left as soon as you enter the lobby and ride up to this overhanging window room where you can knock these two guys out and take one of their suitcases. Then you equip said suitcase and you can drop your items onto the cart to go through scanning. We gotta work quick to shut down this place's automated security systems though, because once our items go through the scan, they'll detect our weapons and it'll sound the alarm. We have to do this to get our stuff onto the plane though. After that, all bets are off as these Special Forces Secret Service looking guards start pouring in to try and kill us. We're quick to take an elevator down into the main hangar though, where Joanna can board the Air Force One without being seen.
Have you thought any more about that proposal I gave you, sir?
My answer remains the same. I'm sorry, Trent, but no. I won't loan the Pelagic 2 to Datadyne. Now please, can we move on to other matters?
But this is a golden opportunity to show that America has faith in its industries and will back them.
Damn it, man. I say no, and I mean no. I'm not going to change my mind on this. I need my advisors to be unbiased, and recently you've not been giving me the impartiality I require. Let it go, and we'll say no more. This is your last chance.
As you wish, sir. My last chance? You fool. That was yours.
Well, we are now riding aboard the president's plane trying to save him from being kidnapped by the head of the NSA. No, this is still not as insane as this game is going to get. This level is actually kind of cool though. It's a little hard to really navigate correctly at first, but the design is great. Since Jo is still in her stewardess outfit, all of the enemies will pretty much ignore you while you're here, and you can just sneak up behind them and one hit knock them out. Also, we get 2 new guns to play with, though that will come into play after we find the president. The average length of these missions ranges from 5 to 8 minutes, I'd say, with some being doable in as little as 2 or 3 minutes, not even trying to speedrun. That is, however, if you already know what to do and how to do it. Playing through these missions blind can take upwards of 25 minutes sometimes as you try using your gadgets on different things or figuring out which vent you can open to let you into the lower level of the plane, where you can get your case with the evidence needed to convince the president he's in danger. Yeah, this is probably a 4-minute mission, but it took me so much longer the first few times trying, making little mistakes that require resetting, for instance, like finding the president without going to the cargo hold to get our items will result in a mission fail and make us have to reset. Once we've located him though, we're able to inform him of his current danger. This is where the recording we took of that secret meeting comes into play. After letting him hear it, he's convinced, but it may be too late.
It seems overwhelming. I'm in your hands. What do we do now? What the hell was that?
We have to get you to the escape pod. Follow me.
Well, that's either an experimental government supercraft or another alien spacecraft. I'll let you guess which one. There's no saving this plane now. We gotta get to the escape pod, but first, let's leave a little gift for our friends on that ominous-looking ship currently attached to the plane. This is where those new guns we found come into play. Not only are they powerful and satisfying to use, but we can hold 2 of them at once. Dual wielding is always sick in over-the-top games like this. Making our way to the bottom cab, we're able to hit the switch and get off this thing before it goes down.
Elvis! Elvis! I can't detach that tube from the fuselage. Can you take it out?
It's okay, Joanna. What's this? Uh-oh.
Watch what? Will you stop playing around and shoot?
Out of options. Joanne, brace yourself for impact.
Agent Doc, please report.
Oh,
Perfect Doc, come in.
Agent Dark, reporting in.
Agent Doc, please reply.
Something's jamming my transmissions. It's coming from that other craft. I'd better find the jamming device and check that Elvis is okay. Not forgetting the president, of course.
When did she have time to... Wait, if she's just now waking up from the crash, then she would have been wearing a stewardess uniform. When did she find time to put on these snow clothes? She's not near a bag or anything. How did she do that? Either way, this is probably the biggest level of the game, and I mean biggest as in scale, like it's literally a large area for you to explore. We've crashed into some mountains somewhere, and we've landed not far from the plane we just watched go down. We're quite a bit of ways away from where the president's escape pod is, but he's nowhere to be found. They must have gotten to him first already. First thing we need to do is locate and activate the distress beacon in the escape pod we arrived in. That'll get the US government involved in some capacity. I actually really like this level. The snowy aesthetic is really cool to play on, the massive open-ended design lets us kind of explore around and get lost a little bit, and even gives us a reason to fly around on this hover bike to kind of close the distance. It's probably half the size of a level in something like, say, Halo, but it kind of gave me a similar sensation to one of Combat Evolved's levels, with us sort of wandering these bigger natural landscapes, taking out enemy NPCs, and completing objectives. We finally find the president being held hostage in some nearby caves by Trenton, but it doesn't take much to make him run away for his life and allow us to escort the president to safety and leave him with Elvis the alien. We're not done yet, though. We still need to find the presidential medical scanner and execute the fake president clone that Trenton's benefactors have conceived for their nefarious plot. On the highest difficulty for this level, we also have to find that enemy alien ship and destroy it to knock out their jamming device. Perfect Dark was at its strongest in this mission and in the first one. It worked really well as a tight objective-based corridor shooter, and it worked really well as a larger, more exploration-based objective FPS. The issue is that most of the missions in this game are trying to be a little bit of both and end up feeling non-committal to either. This was probably the best mission in the game, in my opinion. With the president saved and Trenton's plans foiled, we link back up with Elvis to get some information out of said president to plan our next move.
How are you feeling, Mr. President?
Better now, young lady. Today, I think, will take a while for me to get over. I can't believe Easton would do such a thing. I knew he was ambitious, yes, but this...
Just one thing, sir. What is the Pelagic 2 that Trent wanted so badly?
It's a US government deep-sea research vessel, one of a kind. The only ship that can conduct a full-scale diving operation at extreme depth. Trent wanted me to loan it to the Datadyne Corporation, but I refused.
Trent has a lot to answer for, but I don't think we'll find him now.
You have failed, Easton. You are a flawed device, and we need you no longer.
Just try it, you Scandinavian freak!
Ah, so he was an alien all along. What? Well, Joanna and Elvis the alien are now aboard the Pelagic 2, the submarine the president was talking about. The mercs working for Trenton, or rather, whatever that creature we just saw kill Trenton was, have now occupied the submarine and are planning to take it. So we're here to stop them. This is a very straightforward mission, actually, and it's not half bad. It's all corridor shooting, but I kind of love it. We need to disable the submarine's primary power source first, then work our way up to turn off its GPS and autopilot functionalities. Then we need to get the moon pull lift running and get out of here. While I'm doing all of that, I think I should talk about the gameplay loop of Perfect Dark. Each mission comes with a set of various tasks the player must complete before advancing to the next level, and the number of these tasks increases with the selected difficulty. So unlike many other shooters at the time, the goal of these missions is not to simply kill your way from point A to point B. Oftentimes, completing these tasks requires players to sift through their inventory to make use of specific gadgets they've been given. We've already seen several of these gadgets in the gameplay, but some examples are the spy cam and the X-ray scanner. Most missions will have some kind of unique gadget for Joanna to use, which is honestly really cool. Very in line with the spy aesthetic the game is going for. These objectives offering so much variety to the missions is a big part of why I think this game probably stood out so much among its peers at the time. I mean, sure, there's the fact that there weren't a ton of shooters on the N64 anyway, but even then, Perfect Dark was more than capable of holding its own against shooters made for other consoles due to its unique identity alone. I mean, being able to attach this laptop gun to the wall, then open this door and let it auto-kill the enemies on the other side isn't the kind of mechanic you would ever see in other shooters at the time. Anyway, after we cut through the remaining objectives on the submarine, Joe meets back up with Elvis, who is wearing a snorkel because this game has completely dropped any aspirations of serious tone, and they descend down into the depths of a strange vessel.
The diving operation has been disrupted on the surface. Time for a swim.
I hope the government don't want to use this ship anytime soon.
Did you think we were a little heavy-handed?
No.
This doesn't seem normal. No one's around.
No signs of conflict, no spent ammo cases or bullet holes.
But there ought to be a rear guard at least. It makes no sense.
There has to be someone further inside. Cover me.
So the objectives for this mission are to reactivate the teleportals, disable the Satan mega weapon, secure the control room, and escape the Satan ship. I'm not leaving anything out, nor have I skipped anything. What I just said to you is pretty much the same amount of context the game has given us for this mission. I wasn't even sure what the hell was going on at this point and ended up having to try and catch up to what was happening. At the very least, this level is a lot more straightforward than many of the others we've seen up to now. It's surprisingly linear, and the camo soldiers we encountered in an earlier mission are back again, but they're not all that threatening. As you can see, we're on an alien spaceship, and this is not the same kind of alien that Elvis is, but rather a different kind. There are two separate alien races apparently. One is malicious, and the other is more peaceful. You can guess which kind is the bad kind by looking at their design. Giant dino lizard things. They're called Sketters, and have been waging war against the little gray aliens called Mayans for centuries. You get all that? Yeah, we've abandoned the Datadyne stuff. This is about aliens now, and we're full on just fighting these evil aliens throughout the rest of the game. Between that, the look of the ship we're on, and the design of this shotgun, Perfect Dark is starting to feel more like Duke Nukem than it is GoldenEye, which is something I was not expecting to say about this game when I decided to do a video on it. One reveal we get on this level is that the large blonde-haired man in the white trench coat isn't a single alien in disguise, but rather a single disguise that all of these aliens use to appear as human. The game refers to it as Mr. Blonde. After finding the panel for Elvis to work on so we can advance, we get introduced to a smaller bug-like alien that isn't too dangerous but can do damage in greater numbers. Eventually, once Elvis manages to shut down the weapon, we find Dr. Carroll, the AI we lost to Datadyne earlier. Now we can use the backup data we stole from that warehouse in Chicago to restore his personality.
Here goes. I just hope Datadyne haven't done anything to prevent this.
Virus detected.
Me and my big mouth.
Commencing countermeasures. Commence.
Dr. Carroll? Are you in control again? Can you stop the program?
Yes, I'm back again, my dear. But the program has run far too long for me to prevent it from completing. There is only one way out now.
What do you mean?
When the program has run, I will have control of a vastly powerful weapon. It cannot be allowed to exist. So I must destroy the Ceton, and unfortunately, myself along with it. I'm sorry, Joanna. There is no other way, and no time to discuss this. Go now! Avoid the Skedar and you will have time to escape. It has been an honor to work with you. Goodbye, Joanna Dog.
On a 1-minute timer now, we sprint through the ship with Elvis at our side to retreat back to the way we got in and get out of here before Carol blows the ship up. Luckily, Joe and Elvis make it out in time and are able to escape with their mission accomplished.
Already, Joanna? We can't keep the main delegation waiting. Well, the president, of course.
Am I ready? What do you mean? I was ready half an hour ago. It was you holding us up.
But you know how it is, Joanna. I had to make sure my hair was just right. And then there was the suit.
They should keep you away from mirrors. Nervous?
Very. I've waited for this moment for so many years. Contact. Friendly contact between humans and Mains is what the Institute was founded for. In a few minutes we'll be at the White House, and it will finally happen. Where did that come from?
It was up on ground level.
Hey!
Looks like someone doesn't know when to quit. We've got to get everyone out.
The Skedar have gathered their Datadyne forces and invaded the Carrington Institute in full force now, which I'll admit I kinda saw coming after playing around in this level as a hub world. I could tell it was going to be used for a mission just by the layout. Weirdly, the game's cutscenes had Joanna running to confront the aliens in a cutscene, seemingly hyping you up, and then in gameplay starts you in a location that requires you immediately to turn around and go back in the opposite direction towards Carrington in order to complete a necessary objective by turning on the autocannons and saving Carrington from being killed. I don't know why they did this instead of just starting us beside Carrington where Joe already was. It was odd, but after I figured it out, I kinda got the hang of it. You need to be on top of this too. If you don't sprint back down those stairs to Carrington and get those guns online, he will die and it will be mission failed. Which, actually, I do like the fact that if you fail the mission, it doesn't end. Like, you can't progress, and we'll have to restart to get things right, of course, but you can still just wander around and try to figure out where things are and get the feeling of whatever map you're playing before restarting so you're better prepared. After getting the guns back online, we then rush back upstairs to where the level started us initially and save as many of the Institute's employees as we can from the enemy soldiers. The game gives you a laser similar to the laser watch in GoldenEye too, and it's pretty cool, I have to admit. I mean, it nearly insta-kills most weaker enemies, not to mention certain missions will start you with a consumable item that temporarily alters gameplay. In this case, a stimulant that enhances reflexes to slow down time. With the hostages saved, the last thing we need to do is fight our way through a horde of these so-called Mr. Blondes, i.e. Skedars in disguise, and shut down the bomb they planted in our courtyard. You would think that's that. The president saved, the mega weapon destroyed, and the Institute is secured. You would be wrong. This game still has to totally jump the shark before it's done.
Get clear! I'll You can come back and get me later.
I hope you can. Oh, I'd better not be where I think I am.
And it's worse than that, my dear. Just look who you've got for company.
You? I thought you'd managed to escape. We found no trace of you at all.
You couldn't find me, but there was no hiding from the Skedar, as you and Mr. Carrington just discovered. This is it. Wait there. I'll make a distraction. It will give you a chance to get out. Use it, or we'll both die.
Why are you doing this, Cassandra?
The Skedar used me, Joanna. You were my best chance for revenge.
Well, we're on board an alien spaceship, and Cassandra's distraction just gave us the chance to get out of our cell. Elvis contacts us to let us know he's been tracking us since our abduction and says if we can get their shields offline, he can board and link up with us. Turns out the shields are located conveniently right beside the jail cells? Why? Weirdly placed architecture aside, after going down the elevator, Elvis is waiting for us in an American flag jacket with his name on it. At least he hands us our rifle to fight these things. The Skedar are quite a bit more difficult to fight than the soldiers and security we've been fighting up to this point. Before now, we typically only encounter one or maybe two at a time. When we're having to fight them in droves as our primary enemy now, things are quite a bit more difficult, at least compared to the earlier missions. I think another part of that was just my not taking advantage of their pistol's charge-up shot function though, because when I started using that more, things seemed to get a lot easier. While we're running around in the guts of the ship like this, we may as well knock out their engine systems. Took me a second to figure out what to shoot here actually, but I knew this had to be one of my objectives just by looking at it. The design of the ship is admittedly very impressive though. Very Ridley Scott's Alien kind of vibe, very H.R. Geiger, you know? I think it's pretty cool. I liked being able to look out windows and see stars and a distant planet. Once we're able to access the ship's navigational data and secure the bridge, things start looking up.
Wow, that's the first time I've seen another planet from space. It's beautiful.
I don't believe it!
Elvis? What is it? Where are you going?
We have to get down to the surface! Follow me! This is the Skedar fanatics' most holy place. They believe this planet is sacred ground. The battle shrine is located at the most holy part of this holy planet.
So let me get this straight. It's holy. But there's more to it than that, isn't there?
Yes, in all of the time that we Mayans fought the Skedar, we never found this place. We knew that until it was destroyed, the war would never be over. We fought the Skedar to a standstill. We earned a ceasefire, but we always had to be on our guard. The destruction of this place would mean a chance for true peace.
Then we have to be certain that no fanatics survive. I'll go in and take out the leader. You'll have to summon the Mayan fleet to level the shrine.
If you're caught on the ground when the fleet gets here, you won't stand a chance.
That's a mistake I don't intend to make.
This is the last mission of the game, and it's really something. Took me probably like 2 hours to get through it just because figuring out what to do ended up being so tricky. If you already know what you're supposed to do, then you can realistically go from the start of this level to the game's credits in a couple of minutes. But with me going in completely blind, I was really going through it trying to decipher what the hell I was supposed to do. I did get a little excited when I got this weapon called the Grinder, when I realized that it was a chain gun with a massive drill on the end meant for eviscerating your enemies. That excitement died really quickly when I realized that the weapon kind of sucks. The melee damage is useless, and the accuracy is so bad that you practically have to be shaking the alien's hand to hit it. Once again though, I have to praise the design. The layout felt really satisfying to learn. The art direction and design is exceptional, and everything both looks great and feels like a mysterious alien world. Which is all good because, as I said earlier, I ended up being stuck here for quite a while. These pillars that you have to destroy are kind of random. There's 3 needed to be blown up every level attempt, but there's like 6 potential locations for their placement. So each time you try the level, you have to equip a radar and follow it to the source to determine if you're at the right pillar. Then place one of your charges. When all 3 charges are placed, the pillars will explode. Now this part is one of the things that really caused my playthrough of this level to take so long. You can blow this part of the canyon up to reveal a ladder, but it's actually so hard to figure out if you don't already know. But yeah, you can shoot it with an explosive and destroy it to reveal a ladder. Once we get through that, we make our way through the ruins of this Skedar ship, or facility, or whatever it is. There's a handful more Skedar to deal with between us and the king, and a wall with a little indication that you need to destroy it to progress. Man, I sort of feel like this kind of obtuse level design was on purpose to incentivize buying strategy guides, because this level in particular seems like it's offering very little to help you complete it. Once you figure this out though, there's just a couple of smaller puzzles to get through, including offering up one of your weapons as sacrifice to the god of war. No, I don't think it's that one. We then pass through a room full of what I think are Skedar production pods or something, because they just keep coming from here. When we're ready to end this, we can head into the final room and confront the Skedar Emperor. This battle is actually the hardest encounter in the game, at least it was for me, because I ran out of ammo and ended up just trying to survive and farm the little drops of ammo I could get from one of the Skedar that would spawn to attack me every 15 seconds. And you can't just shoot the Emperor either. You've got to destroy that monument behind him to actually destroy him and end the level. But after a few minutes of persistence, patience, and precision, we destroy said monument, and with it, the leader of the Skedar.
Yes! Oh no!
Joanna! Joanna! Where are you? Are you hurt?
Elvis! Elvis, over here!
No problem. Grab my arms. We'll get you out in no time.
No! Quick! Give me your gun! Will you just... Let go!
I managed to get the fleet to stop the bombardment while I looked for you. They'll start as soon as we're clear.
I'd have got out in time if that one hadn't grabbed my foot.
Of course, Joanna. Of course.
No, I would have.
I believe you.
And that is Perfect Dark. Look, I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't think this game was really for me. I genuinely thought it would be something I was gonna love because I typically enjoy these early 2000s cartoony shooters, especially when they've got a sci-fi tint, but this was just a little bit too much for me, and I even found it to be more repetitive and frustrating than fun a few times. Although I do recognize this is totally just because of my preference in games. I really liked the first couple of missions a lot, but I found myself enjoying each mission less than the last until the final mission where I really just wasn't having any fun at all anymore. I may have made a mistake by listening to so much of the first audiobook before playing this, because that novel is seriously so compelling. It's so full of intrigue and espionage, and the characters are all so unique and interesting that when I realized the game it was based on is just a big joke, it kind of left a sour taste in my mouth. Now look, Rare isn't exactly known for writing serious stories, so I was definitely expecting some early 2000s cheesiness, but I wasn't ready for a gray space alien in an American flag jacket named Elvis to help me take down the enemy alien emperor on their homeworld. I think maybe if I'd played the game first, then I'd have been a little more ready for what was coming, but I mean, maybe not, I don't know. I'm still really glad I did play it through, and taking the time to go through and create this retrospective on it feels right as we ready ourselves for the incoming reboot. It's beyond easy to see why so many people adore this game so much, and it is easily one of the best FPS games I've played on the N64 so far. The plotline may have been a bit too over the top for me, but the game itself is built on top of a very solid FPS framework that's got quite a bit of content to offer, so let's dive into what else Perfect Dark has for us to experience. Even after the credits roll, Perfect Dark has a plethora of content still available to keep players coming back for more. Outside of its main campaign missions, player can challenge themselves with unlocking and completing up to 4 additional bonus missions. The first of these is pretty simple. It's a sort of remix on the first level that sees us playing as the enemy character Mr. Blonde instead of Joanna, and our mission is to set an explosive up in the elevator leading down to the underground lab, and then fight our way up to Cassandra to escort her to the helipad. It's a short mission, but it's a unique enough spin on the level overall. Getting to play as the main enemies is always a neat little touch. After that, we've got the Mayan SOS level that sees us play as Elvis the Alien himself. Once again, this is another remix of one of the main levels, where we have to fight our way out of the main lab and into the comm room to send out a distress signal to Daniel Carrington, the same one he heard in the main story mode that led us to Area 51 in the first place. Probably the most unique thing about this level is the fact that Elvis is literally as short in gameplay as his model is. It's kind of interesting playing through this environment from this little alien's perspective, I have to admit. The third level is a bit less interesting, however. It's called The Duel, and just has Joanna dueling against the Jonathan character in a 1v1 to see who wins. It's novel, but not all that exciting. Our final bonus level is one you may have actually heard of before. It's called War, and once again allows the player to assume the role of a Mayan as you fight the Skedder in a version of the last mission from the story. I say you may have heard of it because there's a very popular video about a speedrun of the level by YouTuber Carl Jobst, who himself held a world record speedrun of the level for 16 years. Speaking of speedrunning, I don't think it would be right of me to make a retrospective about Perfect Dark and not at least mention the impact it's had on the hobby. The controls and engine of the game have made it a treat for so many people to try and master going through each level, and I can totally see why. I'm no speedrunner. In fact, speedrunning is pretty counterintuitive to how I like to play. My style is to take my time, absorb the atmosphere, look for details and lore and stuff like that. So when playing this game quickly ended up feeling so natural even to me, and I found myself trying to complete objectives and reach the end of a given map as fast as I could, I immediately understood why this game is such a darling to pro speedrunners. Trying to play this game fast is super satisfying, and the way Joanna controls just makes mastering its movement feel really rewarding. Ever since Perfect Dark hit the scene, speedrunners have been pushing for new ways to break the game and set new high scores for runs. As of writing this, a new record was set on beating the game on Perfect Agent only a month ago, which is a pretty good indication that even now, there's still interest in speedrunning Perfect Dark, which isn't surprising because, as I said earlier, it's a seriously satisfying game to play quickly. But we're still not done talking about all of the extra content there is to see in this game. In the Carrington Institute hub, we can actually go down the stairs and head into a firing range. This range isn't just for looks, we can actively engage in a minigame that allows us to play with and utilize every weapon in the game to pursue a high score on the range. It's a fun little thing to play with, and the reward for scoring at least a bronze medal on each weapon is unlocking the dual bonus level I talked about earlier. It's a little thing, but its inclusion really helped to make the game feel more complete and like a fleshed out experience. But the bonus material doesn't end there. We still have to talk about the multiplayer and challenge missions. Now, obviously, GoldenEye is notorious for its multiplayer mode, and Perfect Dark plays very similarly to that overall. But since I don't have the means to set up a multiplayer party or anything, the best way I have to talk about this game's multiplayer is through its challenge missions. Perfect Dark's challenge missions offer players a great way to experience its multiplayer maps and modes while completing a series of various challenges against bots. There's 30 different challenge missions, each one with a different challenge to complete, and all of which take place across the impressive 17 map selection available in Perfect Dark's multiplayer mode. I was actually having a pretty good time just running these little missions, and I can see myself having spent some time with them if I'd had access to the game as a kid. An overall great addition to the offerings here in Perfect Dark. If all of that has convinced you of anything, I hope it's that the team who made this game really loved what they were making. Perfect Dark is a gorgeous game, visually, conceptually, and even audibly. The music is another thing I have to admit was an absolute vibe. The original soundtrack overall is actually surprisingly long, featuring 36 tracks composed for the game by Grant Kirkhope, David Klinik, and Graham Norgate. Each track feels uniquely catered to the mission it's present in, and the atmosphere rings off like someone threw a cyberpunk game, a sci-fi game, and a spy game into a blender and mixed them together to form the Perfect Dark soundtrack. And when I say unique, I mean now that I've heard the soundtrack in the game, I could pick it out anywhere. Anyone who's heard it would be able to place it almost immediately. There's quite frankly nothing else that sounds like this. The closest thing I've heard is the GoldenEye N64 soundtrack, for obvious reasons. So I've got to applaud the composers for what they pulled off with this one, because this soundtrack really is one of a kind. Looking back on its review scores shows that Perfect Dark was revered as a masterpiece on release, showing a Metacritic of 79 and a slew of ravingly positive reviews. Critics seemed to think at the time that it was revolutionary and groundbreaking, claiming it did everything GoldenEye did, but did it bigger and better. Everything from the lighting to the animations was praised as some of the best available on the N64, and honestly, I think that's pretty accurate. The biggest error Perfect Dark made was being released in the year 2000 instead of a year earlier, which kind of leads me to my final thoughts. Perfect Dark is a brilliant FPS and a great time for players who are able to engage with its world. It's the kind of game for people who enjoy stories that don't take themselves too seriously and are very comfortable in the fact that they're just a video game. If you enjoy that kind of stuff, then you'll probably love what Perfect Dark has to offer. Unfortunately, I just don't know if this kind of game was resonating with the average consumer back in 2000. By that point, gamers were becoming hungry for titles that took themselves more seriously, I think. And the competition Perfect Dark was facing that year was more than a little steep. Deus Ex, Resident Evil Code Veronica, Thief 2, and Rainbow Six all released within only a few months of Perfect Dark, and those games were all offering a much more serious tone for gamers to sink their teeth into. Not to mention that the Sony PlayStation 2 would release later that same year, and the games that would be releasing in 2001 would make this one look fairly dated in comparison. For whatever reason, not long after this, Rare would be purchased by Microsoft, but they would also go on to begin production on another game in the Perfect Dark franchise. As for this one, it went on to receive a beautiful full remaster which was unfortunately released exclusively to the Xbox Live Marketplace. I say unfortunately because it would be awesome if they would just put the thing on Steam or something. So many more people could play it, especially now with the reboot on the horizon. If you were going to port either this game or the remaster to other platforms, Microsoft, now is the time. The remaster in particular would make a fantastic addition to the Nintendo Switch's library in my opinion, rather than just letting it decay on a nearly 25-year-old console. Or hell, maybe you could include it with the reboot or something. But until something like that happens, this unofficial decompiled fan port is easily my top recommendation for the best way to play Perfect Dark if you're interested in experiencing it for yourself. It's got everything you need to get the highest fidelity experience available for the game right now. So whether you're someone who's interested in catching up on the series before the reboot drops, a series veteran looking for a new way to experience it, or just someone who's been meaning to check it out for a while now, I can pretty confidently recommend you consider giving Perfect Dark some serious consideration for a game that's worth your time to play. Thanks for watching, everybody. I was a little nervous about covering this game since I know it's got such a strong fan base and I really just wanted to do the game justice. What do you think about the game? Have you played it? If so, did you enjoy it? And most importantly, are you excited for the reboot? I'm cautiously optimistic. It looks like it's aiming to be an immersive sim like Deus Ex, which I would love, but we'll see. Who knows if they'll keep the whole alien angle or not. I got the feeling that they're doing something at least similar from the trailer, but I could be wrong. If you enjoyed the video and you'd love to see me cover more games like this, then I'd ask that you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I've got a ton of similar videos in the works right now, and I'm more than a little excited to share them all with you. As always, members of the channel get early access to most of my videos a week or so early, in addition to member-exclusive polls, posts, and more. So, if you're really hyped about supporting the channel, then I'd encourage you to join and become a member so you can help support my quest to cover old games directly. Thanks again for watching, and as always, I hope I'll see you in the next video. But until then, that's all I've got for you.